Hello, and welcome to the I Am Fearless podcast. I'm your host, Vickie, and man, am I glad that you decided to click and spend a little time with me today. Today's guest is Krystal Jugarap. She is the creator of Book of Bijou, which is a coffee table book-style jewelry organizer, and she is also founder of Empowered by Women, which is an online community which supports other female-owned businesses. They are planning to launch a women-owned small business directory in January of 2023, which will be available online. So welcome, Krystal.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so happy to have you with me today. Girl, the struggle to get
struggle. The struggle, the end. That's all we have to talk about.
That's all we have to talk about. I mean, but we're here. We're here. So just a little bit of background information, you guys. Krystal and I, we're both moms. How old are your kids, Krystal?
My youngest is turning 3 next month, and then my oldest is turning 5 in February.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. She's got some little ones. Mine are a little older. I have a 15-year-old and a 19-year-old. So a sophomore in high school, sophomore in college. And then I also have a 17-month-old son. It's crazy over here. It's crazy. It's a lot, but we're doing it. And a part of the reason why I was so excited to have Krystal on the show today is because she is a fellow mompreneur or mommypreneur, whatever the phrase is these days. And we're going to talk about the importance of making time for yourself and making sure that you're pursuing your dreams while being a mom, which is not always easy, but, I think we're doing it. It doesn't seem pretty all the time, but I feel like we're doing it.
Hard, but worth it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So Krystal, I just want to ask you, how do you create the time to do the things that are just for you?
You find ways. You find ways because you have to do it. And when something is really important to you, I say this all the time, when something is really important to you, you make time for it. So struggling mom, juggling motherhood and being an entrepreneur, especially with all the different phases that come with motherhood. You have the infant stage, the toddler stage, and then my kids are becoming bigger kids, slightly bigger kids. So it's been changing along the way. So kind of with every phase, I feel like I have to kind of reposition and figure out what works for me. So a lot of it in the beginning had to do away with the mom guilt. I mean, it's still always going to be there, but it took a while for me to be okay with consciously stepping away from them to do what I needed to do. For a long time, I was just always trying to do work near them or next to them or with them, which is almost impossible, especially if it's like, you're writing an email, you're creating a website, those things that you really have to think about and make sure you're paying attention to all of the small details. That's really hard when you're trying to juggle it while your kids are around. So overcoming that first obstacle of knowing that it is okay to step away, do what you need to do, and then come back and be fully present with them, I think is huge. So if you have a partner that's at home to help you with that, being really open with your communication, like, hey, I need to get this done. Like, I can't do it while I'm here with them. It's going to take me 3 times as long. Let me just step away, do what I need to do. It'll be less stress off my chest, and then I can be a better mom for it. So being okay with that, utilizing found time, like driving is what I use when I listen to a lot of my podcasts. That's kind of how I think of new strategies and different ideas that I may not have thought about. I love listening to podcasts of other women entrepreneurs. Another example of found time is putting the girls to bed. It takes them like an hour to fall asleep, and I'm kind of a night owl, so I'll still be, on my laptop on the dimmest setting or on my phone creating content. And then also just finding ways where you can potentially like have them work alongside you. I've mentioned this in a previous interview, but doing things that don't take a lot of mental effort, like putting together boxes. I'll put together boxes while they're sitting there coloring, or I'll let them help me pack orders. So kind of bringing them into the process too. I think there's a lot of different ways, but just depending on where you are in your motherhood journey, it's going to be different for everyone, and that's okay.
No, you're absolutely right. So funny. So I have a background in retail, and we used to sit and put together boxes, and it was like fun, but that was kind of like our time where it didn't really take a whole lot of, and you kind of become mechanical with it, when you're
Yeah.
like putting together the boxes, and you can kind of chat and still be present, but keep yourself busy. So tell me more about the Book of Bijou, which, by the way, I think is so cool. I love that design. I like that how sleek it is, how clean it is, how and I bet you can fit a ton of stuff in
Yeah, I'm obsessed with it too. But thank you for the compliment. So it started because I actually used to be a jewelry stylist. So I had amassed such a huge collection of jewelry. And obviously, a girl needs options, so I couldn't get rid of it all. But I had like 10 different jewelry displays, like overtaking my shelf. And with a child at home, and we lived in a smaller space back then, that shelf space was valuable. And I was just tired of looking at it all. Like the jewelry itself is beautiful, but I don't need to see it all the time. It just looked very cluttered and chaotic. And I could not find a good solution online. Like everything was still like really big and bulky. Like there were those stand-up mirrors that you open up, but I didn't have the floor space to give up. There were things where you can hang this giant thing on your wall and hang up all your jewelry, but again, I didn't want to see it all. And all of these enclosed organizers looked very obviously like jewelry organizers. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make my own because I've always been a creative since I was a child. I also had a DIY YouTube channel. So I was like, this is going to be great content. I was literally just going to create this for myself. So one night while I was waiting for my then 7-month-old daughter to fall back asleep, that's when I did my best brainstorming at that time in that phase of parenthood. I was brainstorming like, how am I going to put this DIY together? How am I going to film this YouTube chat or this YouTube video? And the more I thought about it, the more I realized the merit of the design. So our books are designed to look like coffee table books. So they're really chic, they're really discreet. You can style them on your coffee table, your vanity, your bookshelf, and it just blends in seamlessly with your home decor. But everything, once you open it up, it's so organized. You can still see everything you own. You can flip through it like an actual book, and everything stays secured to the page. Nothing is getting tangled. We have 6 different pages to choose from, so you can remain really organized. With my huge collection, I have 4 books, but they still look great stacked together because they're books. It looks like a mini library, so it doesn't look cluttered and chaotic. And yeah, it can hold a lot of stuff. I think of the 6 pages, our stud earring page holds up to 45 pairs of earrings.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can
That's
hold a lot. That's just one page. Yeah, because you can choose your pages. I saw on your website, so it's customizable to the amount of, because, some people have more watches. I'm a watch person. I have a ton of watches. Yeah, that's my thing. So if, that would be so cool to have, because I don't really have a whole lot of earrings, but more so watches, bangles, things like that. And it's so cool that you can customize it. What a great idea.
Yeah, and it can really grow with you. So if you're just starting out with one book with 3 different pages and then you decide to purchase another one in the future, it actually has a binder ring so you can open it up and then move the pages, rearrange among however many books you have, and still stay super organized, which was, huge for me.
Yeah, that is so cool. That is so cool. And also too, tell me more about the empowered by women community, because did you kind of start that did you start that after Book of Bijou? How did that come about?
It came really naturally, honestly. So going into Book of Bijou, I knew I wanted to go into it supporting other small businesses just in general. I've always loved the small business space. And since we design jewelry organizers, but not our own jewelry, it made sense to support other jewelry brands there. It was very complimentary. It wasn't competition at all. So that was the start of it. And then, of course, we were trying to build our audience. So in order to leverage other people's audiences, we started doing joint giveaways with other women-owned brands. And I kind of wanted to get past that surface level acquaintance. Yeah, I know this person from a giveaway. I really wanted to get to know these women. I mean, entrepreneurship honestly can be so lonely. And being able to connect with people that know what you're going through, that have done it before, that are inspiring you on a daily basis is game changing. So I started doing interviews with some of these brands. We also have a YouTube channel and a podcast channel where we post all of these interviews. And from there, I don't know, I just fell in love with that whole women empowerment space. So on top of, community over competition, women empowerment became another one of our core values. And with Book of Bijou, to keep it short and sweet, manufacturing has been a nightmare. So our first manufacturer kind of dropped the ball on us. We had this really long waiting period of trying to figure out what was going on with our books and our samples and our inventory. And in that waiting period, instead of me just twiddling my thumbs and woe is me, I was like, well, what can I do in this time to continue supporting other women that are in this entrepreneurship journey? So that's when I got the idea of hosting our very first women's empowerment market, which was in May of this year in Martinez. It was so much fun. But knowing that I had this market in mind, I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just create a whole separate platform where other women can just indulge in that content day after day. And it's not just slowly sprinkled in with the Book of Bijou stuff.
And by the way, you guys, Krystal is in California. And I'm in Texas, but Martinez, California is where you hosted your first event. That is so cool. So then how can other people become members or become listed as a part of your directory that you guys are going to be launching? Like, do you have a specific type of business in mind? Does it matter as long as it's women owned? Tell me more.
So it's going to be all women-owned businesses based in the U.S. You do need to have an active business website or e-commerce site. So there's going to be a 2-step process to apply. You can sign up for our email list now. We have our landing page all up and ready. So if you sign up for our email list, we're reaching out to everyone next month, which is in a couple of days. It's probably this month by the time you're hearing it. So we'll ask you for all of the information. We're looking for product-based businesses and service-based businesses. And really the directory came about because once I hosted that first market back in May, I had like other people that are also looking to host or even just like looking to shop from certain people. They would reach out to me and be like, asking me, do you know anybody that sells this? Or do you know where I can find these people? And even for me, myself, like my way of finding all these people were through Instagram and through hashtags. And it was always a process. So I was like, you know what, let's just make it easy. We're creating something that's incredibly user friendly so you could find all of the people that you want to find that are local to you. Maybe you want to find a Filipina-owned jewelry brand in your area, then you could search that. And we're trying to make it really easy for women to just support other women. So as long as you sign up for our email list, we're going to send you all the details and make it really easy to be listed. The price is going to be super feasible because we know how important brand visibility is for small businesses. So I'm really excited about it.
Man, you really are encompassing supporting women. Like you really are doing that. Like even when you were talking about Book of Bijou and you were talking about the idea of and where it stemmed from, it's like, oh, I have these little kids and I can't have this type of stuff around. And at first, even though it was supposed to be just for you, it's like, oh, but like other people can benefit from this too, particularly moms. I mean, I don't see guys having a ton of jewelry right around, but it's so amazing that you're doing that, and then with the community and that you have, and now with the directory, that's great. That's really great. That's really great news, and I hope to be a part of it. I'm going to submit my info.
Yes, definitely do so. Any women-owned business listening, as long as you're in the U.S. and you have some kind of active website, yes, please reach out.
No, yeah, we need that. We definitely need that because I in particular am very interested in interviewing other female entrepreneurs because I feel like that they speak from a place that I can definitely relate to more so than I think anybody else, But I have some more questions for you. So, what then is your advice to other I cannot get this right. Mommy,
Mompreneurs.
mom entrepreneurs. Listen to me. I
Mom,
still think
we can stick with mompreneurs. Mompreneurs is the easiest to do.
mompreneurs.
There you go.
So what's your advice to other mompreneurs? I know that you laid it out with the importance of creating time,
Yeah.
and making time for the things that are important for you. But what's your advice to them? Because it can kind of get tough. And and you mentioned like putting behind the mom guilt. So are there certain things that you had told yourself in order to put that down so you can step forward and do what you need to do? Like, what does that look like and what does that sound like?
I have so much advice I feel like I could give mompreneurs.
Give it all, girl. Give it to us.
The thing with the mom guilt is that it's kind of looking at the big picture. Yes, in that moment you're stepping away, and yes, in that moment you're sacrificing a few minutes, an hour, maybe 2 hours of your time in that moment that you could be with them. But I am always reminding myself of what the big picture is. And part of that big picture is creating a life that they love and deserve, that I love and deserve. I want to be a role model for them, to have them look up to someone, a woman especially, doing something other than the society norm of, finishing school, going to college, getting a regular corporate job. So I want them to have that inspiration. And I think I totally just lost my train of thought, but but again, just remembering your why and not focusing so much on the difficulty of the time constraints. That's going to be hard no matter what. And recognizing, like for me, I do believe 100% that both Book of Bijou and Empowered by Women is going to be a game changer for our lives. And having that in my mind, I know that it could offer more to my family than a regular 9 to 5 job can. So remembering my why is it I'm doing what I'm doing? And then also recognizing that me allowing to do something that I am passionate about and using that time as kind of like a form of self-care, honestly, doing something aside from motherhood, which I love, but that's not all that I am. So allowing myself to spend time doing that makes me a better mother overall. It allows me to be more present when I am spending the time with them. It allows me to cherish it more. And I think, you're always going to have to remind yourself of that. And I've just seen so many amazing things trickle down from just bringing them on this journey with me. Like with our women's empowerment market, I got to bring them there. So allowing them to be a part of the process kind of compounds that why, and reminds me more and more like this is more than just a job for me. This is more than mommy's job for them. Like this is changing the way that they see life and the way that they see what they're capable of. And that's so important to me.
Oh my goodness, representation is everything, especially when you have a little girl. It is so important, and I completely feel you 1000% that, and think it's so cool that they get to witness that and be a part of that they're helping you to build boxes, and that they go with you to special events that you're hosting to witness you in that position. They need to see that because in them seeing it, then they then believe that they can do that too.
Absolutely. My oldest daughter, she's like been picking up on so many little tidbits too. Like I think she's completely going to follow in my footsteps. Of course, there's no pressure for her to, but she totally acts like a mini entrepreneur already. She's like so ambitious. A story I love to tell that I'm just going to squeeze in really quick. She's very much a girly girl. She loves the hair, the makeup, the nails. So she brought her nail stuff to my mom's house one day. She did her nails. My mom gave her $5. And Anna, right? And later that day, or a few days later, my daughter was telling me, "Oh, grandma gave me money for my business the other day." And I responded, "That's right, you did have a little business." And she was like, "No, it was a big business." And I was like, "That's my girl." I was like, "That's my girl." You're amazing. You shut me right up, and I can't wait to watch what you do in the future.
Oh my gosh, I love that. She said, no, it's not a little business, okay?
Right. Like we, even us, like I don't like the small business phrase as much as, it goes like I say it. I'm trying to work towards like being okay with it, but these are big businesses. Like these are our careers. This is what we're, working towards. So we need to carry that energy too.
Absolutely. And speak it into existence. Very
Yeah.
much so. Like, so, and I don't believe that the ideas that are planted inside of us are meant to be small or meant to be kept a secret or meant to be contained, because when you get bold enough or fearless enough to be able to share it with the rest of the world, there is no telling how big it could be, you know? Girl, I love that. I want to meet this little girl.
Oh, you will. She'll be all over TV in the future.
I can imagine it. I can definitely see it. Okay, let's see. Another question that I had for you, because this is something that I personally struggle with, because I find it so funny that I'm in the same breath, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much I have to do. I'm overwhelmed. I have a million, like that to-do list will not stop growing. Okay. It
Yep.
just gets bigger and bigger every day. But sometimes I find myself like being resistant to help. Do you do that? Do you
Yeah.
without question? Yes.
Yes. Next question.
Tell me how you work through that. What do you do? What do you tell yourself? Like, how do you get into, I guess, the mode of receiving help and support when you need it?
That is a really good question, and it's definitely something that I'm still working on, especially going into 2023. That's kind of one of my big goals is to work on delegating, bringing on help. Um, a lot of the struggle, I think comes from me being a perfectionist. I'm a Virgo, so working past that, and I think recognizing how much more I can get back from it if I just learn to let go a little bit. So communication has been a huge thing in this journey. Communicating to my partner, like when I need him to step in a little bit more so I can get things done. And that was also, a big part of the mom guilt thing because it's not even just mom guilt, it's like partner guilt. It's like I'm stepping away from my whole family. So kind of communicating that has definitely helped. And again, reminding myself of the big picture. Like, why am I doing what I'm doing? And knowing that in the end, anyone that does help me, like I want to help them tenfold. No matter like in what capacity they're helping me. In the end of the day, I want to be able to give back, and I know I have to take these steps in order to do that, in order to build something that allows me to do that.
No, and I think you absolutely are. I think empowered by women and that small business directory, not small business, that big business directory.
There you go. I'm changing it. That's it.
But that big business directory, like that is you also, I think, helping other businesses by shining a spotlight on them and making them available in a nice, neat, contained space, kind of like what you did with, you're an organizer, aren't you, girl? I like how you did with Book of Bijou. Like you take it all and you organize it very neatly for everybody to access. That is a superpower of yours.
Some areas of my life.
Jewelry and business. Jewelry and business. So we're nearing the end of our interview and I have a couple of more questions for you. I always like to ask my guests these two questions towards the end of my interviews because I think it's so important to highlight individual ideas and perceptions of these questions that I'm about to ask you. So the first is, what does success look like to you?
I would say that it's kind of like three-pronged. So the first one, and this is in no specific order, the first one, of course, is the financial freedom, especially with a family. I want to be able to give my girls whatever they want. I want to be able to take them places and have them enjoy life. So being able to have the financial freedom to do so will definitely be a marker of success for me. The second one would be knowing that I'm doing something that I genuinely love. As far as I can remember, I've always believed in pursuing something that you're passionate about. To me, it's never been about what's going to make me the most money. It's always been about what do I love and enjoy doing? Like, that's what I want to do for a living. So if at the end of the day, I can say, I'm proud of what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I'm happy to get up in the morning and go to work at it. That is yet another marker of success for me. And then the third one I've already kind of hinted at, but is making sure I am a role model for my daughters and getting them to believe, like truly believe in their hearts and in their souls that they can do and be anything that they want. If they have that mindset growing up and they are fearless, like your podcast, and curious and ambitious and ready to take over the world and know that they're amazing, like truly believe that to their core, then I think I've done my job as a mom.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love that. No, you hit it all. Like, I like that. Yeah. Okay. And then my last,
I feel like I'm about to cry.
because you know what? I think that it's so personal. Like, talking about what success is, it's such a personal thing. It's not what we see on Instagram. And I don't really think that success is something that you can really is a visual representation. It's more so of a feeling that you have gone out into the world and you've accomplished what you feel like that you were created to do. And although life may bring on more things for you to do, but you're completing them to the best of your ability and, with your highest and best self in mind. So it is kind of personal. And when I heard you say it, I think about me and my daughters, and I think about why I do the things that I do and what success looks like and feels like to me. And they have a huge part of it. Like, I just want to make sure that, I'm not only serving myself, but serving others and being a good role model for them, So yeah, that's beautiful though. And the last part, my last question to you is going to be rather, what is one piece of advice that you wish you had received at a pivotal point of your career or personal life?
I think I would go with learning to let go of the things that you can't control, knowing that everything is going to hit the fan eventually. I've known that I was going to be an entrepreneur since high school. I thought I was going to go into fashion design. I actually even designed a shirt for myself at home. And then some of my friends placed verbal orders. And I was like, all right, I'm doing this. But, when I came back home, I talked myself out of it, which I think is a huge problem a lot of women entrepreneurs face, is they talk themselves out of it because it's not yet perfect enough. So learning to let go a little bit, let go of the control a little bit, allow yourself to learn along the process, know that you're meant to learn along the process, I think is game changing. Everything is learning opportunity.
No, absolutely. I like that. I like that a lot. And yeah, that's great advice. I like that. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. Thank you so much. Well, Krystal, this has been such a pleasure. And I have enjoyed speaking to you so much and learning about Book of Bijou, the Empowered by Women community, the big book of business directory that you're going to release January 2023. So before you go, can you please share with us where we can find you on Instagram, where we can find the community, where Book of Bijou is located, and any other information that you want to drop? Please share it with us. Go ahead, girl.
Absolutely. So on Instagram, Book of Bijou, so book like a book you read of, and then Bijou is Bijous. It's actually jewelry in French. I'm not French, it just sounds beautiful. Empowered by Women is our other Instagram. Women is spelled WMN. And then both of those you can just plug into your website Google whatever it is, www.bookofbijou or www.empoweredbywomen.com. You'll find both of our websites. If you're looking for our YouTube or podcast channels where we interview other women entrepreneurs, then you can look for it under the Empowered by Women name.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Krystal, thank you once again for joining me. And you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Vickie, encouraging you to love everything, everyone, and most importantly, yourself. Thanks. And you guys take care.